Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Give, Send, Go Spotlight TV, where we spotlight your favorite campaigns that are shining brightly all over the world. This morning, we have with us Mr. John Harris, a campaign owner on Give, Send, Go. John, how are you doing this morning?
Hey, I'm doing well. We have a great morning here in Virginia, where I live. A little cloudy, but it's a good reprieve from the heat, so I'm doing great.
Awesome. Well, I am excited to have you on. As we mentioned a little bit beforehand, this is the first. So we won't have it all together right now, but we are going to continue to grow this. We are starting off this new channel, this podcast, to be, I think, spotlighting campaigns on Give, Send, Go. People that are fundraising, have a story to tell, and we're giving people the opportunity, campaign owners, an opportunity to tell their story so we can broadcast it to our larger community and help people in their journey in that way. So why don't you tell me a little bit around your backstory around the campaign that you have going on right now?
Yeah, so the current campaign is on Give, Send, Go. American Monument Documentary is the title, and we're producing a movie, documentary, so docudrama, I guess you could say, on a current political issue going on. It's actually more of a cultural issue in the United States and across the Western world, really, especially in the English-speaking countries like England and Australia and South Africa. And it's this issue of historical monuments to people who held views that today are considered either racist or sexist or homophobic, or they don't match up to some kind of modern, usually more egalitarian kind of understanding of humanity that modern Westerners share. So, for example, here in Virginia, where I live, there's been quite a purge lately of a lot of Confederate monuments, but it's been more than just Confederate monuments. It's been sometimes schools that are named after people like Thomas Jefferson. I know there was a George Washington statue taken out of a church down here. There was a Christopher Columbus statue that was destroyed in Richmond. So this is expanding more and more every day. And in fact, on the radio, I just heard 2 days ago that there's a, I think it was 20 schools, if I remember the number correctly, that a historical commission in Virginia from the state government wants to rename. And some of these schools are things like Patrick Henry High School, things like that. So yeah, it's an asset that's starting to eat everything. And we wanted to preserve the true and valuable things that we believe many of these monuments represent, to explorers like Christopher Columbus, to soldiers who demonstrated bravery and sacrifice and courage in the face of overwhelming stress and battle. Most of the monuments to soldiers are for those reasons. It's not necessarily for the political cause they even fought for or fought under, or the government they fought under. It's more for the courage that they had in battle and those kinds of things. And so we wanted to preserve that kind of a legacy to our founding fathers, the amazing, incredible ideas they had that led to the formation of the government of the United States. And so the contributions that are true and valuable are the reasons that these monuments were placed in public squares and other public areas for people to remember the great things that great men did. They weren't because they held views that we don't agree with now in every respect. They weren't because monuments to white supremacy, as you usually hear today. They were to bravery, courage, exploration, very positive things. And so our documentary is trying to restore that authorial intent, that understanding of why these monuments were erected in the first place, the value they have for the public landscape, not just even character qualities, but the art that they represent. And we would like to try to defend them as much as we possibly can to create kind of a perception in the public mind that these aren't necessarily all bad. And the Give, Send, Go has just been invaluable, because we know that websites other websites. I'll just say competitors. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say the names on this podcast, but we know that we risk being deplatformed.
Sure.
We maybe we wouldn't be, but in this political climate, it's very uncertain. And we knew Give Send Go was a place we could go. And we've already actually filmed one documentary using Give Send Go called Paint the Wall Black. And we were able to get the money we needed through crowdsourcing through Give Send Go. So it's been very successful in the past, and we think it'll be successful for this current project.
Great. So so this is a video documentary. What's your background with videography, with this type of stuff?
Well, I'm honestly, like I said, we did one documentary called Paint the Wall Black, which you can go view on YouTube or Rumble or even Facebook. But I'm not myself, at this point at least, I wouldn't consider myself a trained filmmaker. I have a team. I have a good editor and someone else who also does some filmmaking. And so my background is more research. And so I not only kind of lead the charge on these things and help come up with the ideas and popularize them, but I do a lot of the research that leads to the information we're going to actually convey. I find videos and that kind of thing. My background is in history. So that's, I guess, my contribution. But I'm learning more and more every day about how film works.
Yeah.
And I was very pleased with our first documentary. So we got a great team, and I think this will be a good documentary as well.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome, Jerry. I mean, back to what you were talking about a minute ago, the what these monuments stand for, what they were created for, versus the moral imperfections that every human has. You know, it reminds me of what Jesus said to the woman that was caught in adultery, not to the woman that was caught in adultery, but everyone around her that was attempting to stone her, which was, you who are without sin, cast the first stone. And I think we've come to a place in society where people really want to stand on this moral platitude, place of raising themselves up above everybody else. And the unwillingness to say that that though everybody is fallen and broken and has made mistakes and isn't perfect, that you can still do some good things. You can still have virtuous characteristics, even without being perfect. And it's almost like there's an attempt to throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's like we just need to, because we find any ounce of a stain on something, we want to destroy the whole thing, which from a logical perspective just sounds absolutely silly, because that just is destructive to everything. It's easy to throw stones.
Yeah, the attempt of today's cancel culture is to silence opposition or anything deemed offensive, to take away even from currently living people their ability to operate in the economy, which again is why Give Send Go is so important for our campaign. But yeah, it is sort of a moral crusade, a puritanical almost kind of attempt to throw history under the bus, throw fathers and grandfathers and great grandfathers under the bus because they did not meet a current standard that society deems to be important, and not to take into account the times in which they lived. And I think the main thing, more than anything else, is to reinterpret them according to something that was not the primary motivating factor for them. And so taking a view they had in another category and then making that the fundamental thing that just colors everything about them, that motivates them. I mean, this is kind of the logic of critical race theory today, that you are motivated. Everything you do must be motivated by some kind of power dynamic or attempt to exert control. And that's just not the case. The human beings do oppressive things. That's true. We believe that as Christians, but we don't believe that every single thing a human does is somehow in their self-interest if they're a quote unquote oppressor, according to sociologists. There's a lot of things that people have stood for that are right and good, that are bravery and valor and courage. And these are in short supply today. Yeah. And we need to return to those things. And we need examples of men, especially, I mean, some of them are women too. I know Joan of Arc has been threatened as well, but we have examples from men of the past that can show us the way forward today. It doesn't mean we agree with every single thing from their society and the way that they arranged their labor relationships or anything else. All it means is we recognize in them virtue, and
Yeah.
we need virtue today. And so that's what the monuments primarily are dedicated to: people who had some kind of a virtue,
Yeah.
and we want to preserve that virtue.
Awesome. Well, before this gets too political, because I know it can, and it's actually an area that I like to talk and discuss, and the current politics of things. Let me take it back. See if you remember. Do you remember how you first heard about Give Send Go?
Yeah, so I think someone had recommended it to me. I wanted to use GoFundMe, I think, to do crowdsourcing. And as far as I remember, I think someone had mentioned there was a Christian alternative, something like that. But anyway, I looked it up online on a search engine, and I found it real quick. And I put in, this was for Paint the Wall Black, the first documentary we did. I just put in all the information, and within less than 5 minutes, I was up and running, and it was working, and people could contribute. And we had, I had asked for, I think, $10,000 to do this short, it's a 50-minute documentary. And I think we had, within about a month or so, we had almost $11,000, and
Awesome.
we're able to do the documentary. So it's been invaluable. It's been easy to work with. We didn't have any problems with that campaign. And so I recommend it to others now and tell them, instead of using an alternative website, go use Give Send Go.
Awesome. Well, we definitely appreciate that. So I have your current campaign link right now, givesendgo.com/American Monument Documentary. That's correct, right?
That's right. Yeah. Should be a
All
big
right.
picture of George Washington there.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I want to kind of finish with that. Givesendgo.com, American Monument Documentary. You guys that are watching this, if you have an opportunity, jump on to givesendgo.com, check out American Monumentary Documentary, and or search John Harris in the search engine. It'll pull him up. What's the name of the studio? Last Man Standing, was it? Or last?
No, Last Stand Studios.
Oh, Last Man Standing.
Yeah.
Last Stand
Yeah,
Studios.
Last Man Standing, I think, is a comedy on television.
Yeah. Right.
Ours isn't quite as funny, but yeah, there is a trailer too. People can go look at if they want. Go to laststandstudios.org, and there's a trailer there for American Monument, and we have some of the contributors talking about it, some of our footage. So that'll give you an idea of kind of what we're doing.
Awesome. Well, John, I definitely appreciate you coming on, being the first to break through into this new venue that we're beginning to offer. We appreciate you using Give Send Go. We look forward to your continued use, and any way that we can help, we are willing to do what we can do. And all those of you that are watching, we have our favorite tagline here at Give Send Go. Most people see it as the salutation in our emails, and it is shine brightly. And that is our encouragement to everybody watching this as you go the rest of your day, whatever it may place in front of you, shine brightly and continue to be a light in the world. So, John, thank you very much. Look forward to future discussions.
I love it. God bless. And thank you for starting Give Send Go. We appreciate it.